I told you if Senator Rand Paul and President Barack Obama had teamed up. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show with your host, Shikama. So, it's a very strange bedfellows. That's the saying, right? Politics makes for very strange bedfellows. We have the libertarian-leaning Republican Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky and the ultra-communist and socialist leftist President Barack Obama, who at every term is destroying the Constitution, but he has teamed up with Senator Rand Paul to champion the cause of voter rights for people convicted of crimes. So here's the story. Senator Rand Paul went back to his home state and delivered a resounding speech on the floor of the state capitol in the state legislature and got the state senate to pass a bill that gives the ex-convicts back their right to vote. The House, however, had a completely different bill that gave ex-convicts the right to vote, but it excluded 50 different people who had committed crimes. And reading over the internet and reading people's comments in researching this, many people said, well, I don't feel that these certain ex-convicts, people who rape, people who murder, people who deal drugs, should get the right to vote back. It is amazing to me how un-American people have really become, with president after president, government after government, bashing in this notion to take away people's freedoms. So you have comments like these where people are saying they don't feel that certain people should have the right to vote who are American citizens. The entire American experience, the entire quest for freedom that the founding fathers of the United States of America, and I know it's ironic that a black person would be saying this, my actual family was completely free from the very beginning. We were never slaves. So I have no slavery in my history, so a lot of the debates about blacks being 3/4 of a person and that the founding fathers had slaves doesn't really hold water with me as an argument against observing the Constitution. So let's get that out of the way. This whole experiment of freedom, this whole American experiment of being free from authority has really died. When people in the United States who were born American citizens think that it is all right to take away the freedoms of other people because they have been indoctrinated in this notion, this communistic notion, this fascist notion that you don't have a right to be free, you don't have a right to certain things guaranteed by the Constitution. The Constitution says every American should have a right to vote. Every American. Now they were saying, oh, but it's reasonable to take away the rights of people who commit treason, their rights to vote. No, that's not it. The whole idea is that we should be always 100% free, and that includes a right to vote. Now, why do I say that? Well, let's talk about conspiracy. And I'm not talking about conspiracy on your part. I'm talking about conspiracy on the government's part. Why are people convicted? Because a policeman found the person. There was supposedly a crime committed. Notice I said supposedly. Sometimes there's not even a crime committed. And the police go out and capture the person. They bring him in. They hold him. Then he marches into court. And then the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney make their case in front of a judge, the jury, or the judge. 95% of crimes never see a jury, never make it to court. So what I'm describing to you is simply the process of making a deal. The judge makes a decision and sentences the person to however long the punishment is. And nine times out of 10, that's how it goes. They go before a judge and the judge goes guilty and you get 15 years. That's how it works. That's how everybody looks at TV shows and they see people going to trial and being in front of a jury. That rarely happens. 90%, 95% of the time that doesn't even happen at all. The person pleads guilty 95% of the time. Now, let's think about this for a second. Is it possible that people could be coerced into pleading guilty who are not guilty at all? Oh yes, definitely. When they started going back and applying the forensic evidence, forensic DNA evidence to court cases, and they're still going through them, they released 25% of all the prisoners because they were completely innocent of everything charged. They weren't even at the crime. It's government conspiracy to convict people. Now, let's convict people, and what do we do with their freedoms and their rights? They have none, even when they get out. Now, who are the people what group does this happen to most? Black people, black men and women. It's a conspiracy. I was amazed, shocked beyond belief. Not that I think that Rand Paul is a racist, and I mean racist in the pure sense of the term, that black people should be kept down by law. Not that I thought he was like that, but I was just amazed that a white person in general would champion this cause, because the main people or group that this affects are black people. Black people as a whole are prevented from voting altogether. And with the convict laws and the voter laws that are in place, whole slews, 10 to 20% of the black people alive do not have the right to vote at all. Now, when I tell you about the government conspiracy to disenfranchise black people and to convict black people, this is Black History Month, right? This is what's going on right now, today. We're not talking about the 60s. We're not talking about the 50s. We're not talking about the 20s. We're talking about today. This is going on today. That black men over the age of 40, a good 20%, do not have the right to vote. Born and raised in the United States. And when I say conspiracy, I mean conspiracy. I mean coercion. I mean torture. I mean mental rape. Confessions, confessing to crimes they did not commit. I could go into the whole getting confessions out of people who are mentally disabled and black. There are thousands upon thousands of cases. Remember, there's not that many people in prison. When we're talking about numbers, it's not that many people in prison. I know you're told that we have the most people in prison. Well, there's not that many people who commit crimes to begin with. Most of humanity are sheep and they go along with whatever laws that you make. Even stupid laws like seatbelts and all that sort of stuff. They go along with it. They don't argue. They just go along with it. Oh, you made a law? Wait a minute, for my safety? I am an adult. I don't need a law to tell me how to be an adult. They go along with it. It's a conspiracy to disenfranchise black people. Now, some of you are denying it. You say, oh no, that can't be true. Oh yes, it is true. Convicting all of these black people and putting them in prison is a conspiracy. We have cases upon cases where they were found out, where they convicted black people, sent them to prison for stuff that they didn't even commit, and then extend their prison sentence. It's on the books. And who's in a collusion with it? Police, prosecuting attorney, judge, all found. It's on record. It's on record. Go look it up. Go look up those cases. There is a conspiracy in this country. This is what racism is. Some white guy doing a comedic show and saying the N-word 50 times is not racism. He's bigoted, but he's not racist. Racist is when a system, a group, creates a system to keep another group down and to suck and draw all of the wealth out of that group. That's what racism is. It's not about, I hate you because you're black. No, that's not racism. That's bigotry. I hate you because you're black. I hate you, blah, blah, blah. That's bigotry. If you convict black people, sentence black people, and then write a law that says they can never, ever have the right to vote afterwards, that's racism. A group targeting another group and doing it as a group and passing laws to disenfranchise or do something and sucking the wealth out of the second group. That's racism. I know you're not taught anything about this in school or in the news, but that's what racism is. And if you want to go back to it, it was a race between the European powers, the Dutch, the French, the English, to go and plunder and see who could get the most wealth, amass the most wealth amongst themselves. That's what it was. Remember, Europe was at constant war throughout its history. Africa, Asia, they weren't at constant war. They didn't get down like that. A lot of the people were completely uniform. There was no need to war. Who were they warring against? Even in Africa, I know we're told about Africans doing stuff for Africans, but that really was not the case. It really was not. A lot of the people were related anyway. And what's amazing is the Europeans were related and they still warred. The English warring against the English, cousins, brothers, sisters, uncles, warring against each other. So when they come to the part where they have discovered ships and how to navigate for some distance, then they start to try and plunder the entire world for the riches of Europe. That is where the entire word racism comes. It's a group targeting another group to steal their wealth. So let's get back to Rand Paul and Obama. So Rand Paul and Obama championed this cause to give the right to vote back to convicts. They've served their sentence, they're out, all of their rights should be given back. Now, for people to say, well, I don't think a rapist or a child molester should get there, you don't know what being American is. You have no idea what the Constitution is. You need to go back and read the Federalist Papers. You need to go back and read the papers about the Continental Congress. You need to go and understand what it is to be American. We have been so indoctrinated with this communist, socialist, fascist stuff that now we are trying to adopt it. Even the people who say that they're for freedom. You're not for freedom. You're not for freedom. I'm not saying that the jails should be bust wide open. It would be a good start, actually. You should probably only punish those people who really deserve punishment. And our court systems and our police systems, not talking about the individual police now, the entire system is corrupt. It's fascist by nature. It's fascist by law. And it is racist by law, even today. Now you're saying, oh, you're jumping to conclusions. I'm not jumping to conclusions. This is a reality. If you study it, and if you started to study it, and if you could mark the race of the people who do what and who get convicted of what, you will see that there is a conspiracy against the black community. The black community, which is only 13% of the population, but we are the main target of everything bad. And when I say bad, that includes the gamut of everything that we hold dear in the society. That includes religion, that includes crime, that includes economy, finance, everything bad. Anything that could have the word bad ascribed to it, blacks are the target of it. In this United States, it is really the worst. I applaud Senator Rand Paul. I don't believe he accomplished what he had hoped he accomplished. He's quoted as saying, this is a huge step forward. We got to vote on something that wouldn't even come up in a bill before. Now, let me clue you in on some history that I know of also. There have been black groups trying to get this before a state legislature for over 50 years, and they have never even gotten ink on paper in anybody's state legislature. There is a national group. There are tons of national black groups trying to get this. Why? Because black people are the targets of this for the most part. Disenfranchising black people runs the gamut across the United States. Every state, Southern, Eastern, Northeastern, even the idiots in Detroit where they have the black people running the show. I applaud Senator Rand Paul. He didn't accomplish what he had hoped to accomplish, but he got something done that the black groups have not been able to do for decades. Decades. Why would you even formulate a law that says if you are convicted of a crime, you do not have the right to vote? The two don't even equate. And voting is supposed to be, in this country, sacrosanct, untouchable. That is the basis of freedom. Now, let me paint a picture for you, maybe this will help, of a story of a person who is laying in their bed asleep. They hear a noise, and then 50 guys come, bust down the front door, and comes all the way to the bedroom and starts holding him down. They are SWAT, and they read off a whole bunch of charges. You are hereby charged with distribution, intent to distribute drugs of A, B, and C. He's handcuffed and hauled off to the police car, the paddy wagon. He comes before a judge. The prosecutor says, yes, we have sworn testimonies by Ratfink 2, Ratfink 3, people that this guy doesn't even know. And in fact, it's not even him that they wanted. It's somebody completely else, but he's a black guy. He's sentenced to jail for however long time that they deem, and he loses all of his rights. He never did drugs. He never distributed drugs. He doesn't know Ratfink 1 and Ratfink 2 at all. And the police know that they have the wrong guy. But they did their job, and nothing is going to stop them from doing their job. Now, you're saying that could never happen. You're an ignorant fool. You're a little child. It happens all the time. Let me give you scenario B. Same thing, but the guy doesn't actually sell drugs. What he does is he's a pickpocket, right? But he's convicted of capital murder. And they said, well, we know you're wrong. We know you're a criminal, so you're gonna do the time. They tell him point blank, we know you didn't do it, but you're gonna do the time anyway. If you say that doesn't happen, you are foolish. You're ignorant of facts, and you are foolish. It happens all the time. There is a general conspiracy that is accepted even within the population to convict black people. A conspiracy against black people. A conspiracy against a black family. A conspiracy against black men. A conspiracy against black women. A conspiracy against the black community as a whole to make sure that they are disenfranchised, that we are disenfranchised. That means our right to votes taken away, our rights to freedom taken away, our right to property taken away by law. I applaud Senator Rand Paul. Supposedly, President Obama is also doing this. He's going across the nation speaking on this. And I point again to the fact that there are black groups who have been trying to do this forever, for decades, who have dedicated their lives to doing this. I was going to try and present that to my state legislature, but since there's already groups doing that, and hopefully Senator Rand Paul makes a national tour and not just goes to his own state, that would be very good for his bid for presidency if he went around doing this nationally. Now, I wanted to point this out. I could have made a video saying Rand Paul is championing the cheering on the right to vote for convicted felons, because white people listening would think, oh, he is talking about white people, so yes, we are behind it. I want you to make you aware of all of the facts. White people are very rarely disenfranchised. Rarely. One convicted white felon out of 1,000 black felons is disenfranchised. The numbers don't lie. Go look them up. Go look it up. I'm not saying that black people are a majority of prison population, although that's often quoted and it's not true. There might be a prison somewhere with 90% black people, but there might be 90% black people in the area, or they might be transferring black people to that prison, which happens. I know a lot of people don't know about the prison system, not that I know about the prison system, but I have been doing research, and they transfer people from prison to prison. In fact, they bid on prisoners like they bid on an auction of a horse. How about how you like them apples? It is a corrupt system. It is not in any shape or form justice. It's not rehabilitation. It's not even separating the bad people from the good people. That is some sort of person who does crimes versus some sort of person who doesn't do crimes, meaning average citizens. That's not what's going on here. It is a completely corrupt system from top to bottom, from the judge all the way to the beat cop. Everybody is in on it. I wanted you to know all of the facts. I don't want you to sit there in ignorance and think that, you know, people say, oh, there's no racism in the United States. And I defined the word racism for you so that you understand what the word actually means, and not this stupid stuff that you hear, or the people on CNN talking about it, or the people talking about Obama, or the people who are opposed to Obama and calling people racist. And now, bigots, yes. Racist, no. Racist against Obama would mean that the entire Congress and the Supreme Court and every state legislature had written a law that said Obama cannot do such and so. That would be racist. People saying that they hate Obama because he's black, bigotry. Racist law. Think racist, a law that enforces some sort of bigoted and predatory circumstance against a group of people. You can't even be racist against one person. It's group versus group. So it has to be a law against Obama and everybody in his family and everybody in his city or something like that. And it would have to be, you know, something like that. Or every black person and Obama just happened to be included in it. That's what would have to happen. You can't be racist against just Obama. You can be bigoted, but not racist. I want you all to have the full story of what is actually going on. A lot of this stuff is not in the news. It's just not there. They're not going to tell you that convicts who lose their right to vote are mainly black. They're not going to say that on the news. Do you think they're going to say that on the news? No, not going to happen. There have been groups, black groups, fighting for the right to vote for decades. They're not going to tell you that on the news. But Senator Rand Paul does it. It's all over the news, but they're not going to tell you the gritty, grimy, gory details. That's what I try and bring to every video that I can. A lot of people don't like what I say. A lot of people will get nervous about what I say. Don't be. I want you to be an intellectual. Notice the tone of my voice. I am just as dry as possibly can because that's my personality. I really don't care. I'm not emotional about things at all. The stuff that other people get all riled up, oh my God, abortion. I just come across intellectually and say abortion is wrong because it's wrong. I mean, it's just inherently wrong. There's nothing even to debate about it. It is wrong. A woman doesn't have a right to destroy another human being. There is no right. There is no such thing. That's not emotion. That is pure intellectualism. You know, I know people who try and excuse it away, but for me, it's just an intellectual exercise. Black people being targeted by laws that are racist. Intellectual. It's wrong. Point blank. I mean, there's no debate about it. There's nothing to cry about. They exist. They need to be taken down. And think about this. So goes black people, so goes a lot of other people. You know the poem about first they came for our guns, and I said nothing. First, and then they came for blah, blah, blah. Then they came for the Jews, blah, blah. Then they came for me, and nobody was there to defend me, right? People think, well, those are black people. They deserve it. They have nobody to fight for them. They have nobody to defend them. Whatever. Then it's Mexicans. Then it's Asians, then finally it's white people. You don't sit back and let this happen. Justice is justice for everybody. Justice is for everybody in these United States. So you can't sit back and say, oh, well, it's black people. They'll get some. They don't have lawyers? No, they don't. We don't. We don't have lawyers. Nobody takes our cases. That's why we're in jail. Nobody takes our cases. Nobody argues in court for us. It's a conspiracy. The public defender wants his case over. That's what he wants. He doesn't want somebody to go free. He wants his case over. He assumes that if you come before him, you're guilty. That's what he assumes, number one. Public defender, that's what you assume. You work for the court system. You're not going to be defending people. Silly wabbit. But so goes black people, so goes everybody. Eventually they will come from it. You know, now you're up in arms about guns. Well, they've been taking guns away from black people. They have convinced black people to such a degree that black people in certain cities think it's criminal to own a gun, that it's a bad thing to own a gun. Black people do not pack heat. Black people don't go out and buy guns because they have been convinced by the Democratic Party to think in their heart of hearts that somehow owning a gun is criminal. Criminal! That you're a bad person. And they put it in movies all the time. The black woman going, "How could you bring a gun into this house?" Right. That's how I feel about it. I mean, it's stupid. So goes black people, so goes everybody. Now everybody's up in arms about gun control. You know, pretty soon you'll be up in arms about other things. These are actually black issues. That's all I'm trying to tell you. I salute Rand Paul on this particular issue. I salute Obama on this particular issue. I don't think he listened to the black leadership to start doing this, especially the black Democratic leadership. Maybe a black conservative got a hold to him. I don't know who got a hold of him about this issue. This is a black issue. Voter rights for convicted felons is a black issue. And let me try and convince you. If somebody says, well, I don't think that rapists should have the right to vote after they're convicted and serve their time, that is anti-freedom, anti-American. Please wipe that out of your brain. Wipe it, wipe it, wipe. Freedom and the rights in the Bill of Rights is supposed to adhere bar none. And the right to vote is supposed to be sacrosanct. It's supposed to be right up there with Jesus. Right next to Allah. Right next to Moses. Understand what we're doing here in the United States. And understand that you're being indoctrinated. Even the people who staunchly believe in freedom, you're slowly being indoctrinated into this fascist way of thinking, into this communist way of thinking, into this socialist way of thinking. Oh, if you're a murderer, you shouldn't have the right to vote. The right to vote is sacrosanct, untouchable, untouchable. Because what can you really do with the right to vote? What can a murderer do? Huh? For his right to vote. I'm not talking about he's going to go out and force other people to vote some sort of way. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about his right to go into a ballot and cast a ballot. It's supposed to be treated as the holies of holies. The voting booth is supposed to be treated as the holies of holies. That's why I can't understand how people are not up in arms when they find voter fraud. When a guy comes out and says, oh yes, we know that the electronic voting booth is completely rigged and I helped rig it, and he says it before a court of law, and that's not even reported on the news. We're losing this country because of this fascist way of thinking, this communist way of thinking has seeped into patriots, people who think that they understand freedom. We're losing this country because of this. Anyway, I just wanted to share all of this with you, and this story in particular. I think you should share this video with everybody. I don't think there are people alive today who think that they're all for freedom, who even understand what freedom really is, who understand what rights are. They have been slowly indoctrinated into the way of thinking like a fascist, into the way of thinking like a communist. Share this video as much as you can. And remember to give it a thumbs up so that everybody can see it. That pushes the video up so that everybody can see this. I do this because I want to be free. You think we're free? Well, we're not yet. It's gonna take probably a revolution. I'm not advocating that. I'm just predicting that. It's probably going to take a revolution to really and honestly be free. I don't think people watching me even know the tip of the iceberg of how corrupt our government system is from the federal, state, and local level. I don't think they are. Most people are not involved in politics anyway. They don't want to get involved. They have to go to work. They have to get some rest. That's what they have to do. I try and present everything to you on a platter so that you can see it all. All right? Thank you for watching the Shakam Live Show.